What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm your host, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
Dynamic duo pod this week. It's going to be a light pod, light on the news, which means that you're going to get a lot of tangential conversation, which is really why you come. We know.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I've been playing nothing new. I'm still plugging away, trying to at least beat the story in Assassin's Creed before Cyberpunk comes out next week.
I am nowhere near finished that because Spider-Man came out and I played the remaster, and when I say it's my favorite game, it's my favorite game, so that has to kind of take priority, even though I know it inside and out. But I got my platinum in it, and I just have to get that little 100% next to it. You know what I mean? I gotta.
Oh, that's right. The expansion content doesn't count towards the platinum.
Right. So now I just gotta get that 100%. So
so the one of the new features the PlayStation 5 has, and we'll actually talk about this later in the episode, is that it shows you how far, like, through a mission you are in the explore menu when you're in a game. Now, the Sony first party games do this really well. Like Astro, if you're in a level, it'll literally tell you like the estimated time left to complete the level as well as percentage. So Assassin's Creed kind of is the same thing, but it tells you how far you are through the story, but it does it in like 20% increments. So I'm like 80% through the story, but I don't necessarily know how to finish it because you have like a map of areas that you have to kind of do the story arc that exists within each of the different shires, essentially, in England. And I don't know which are the important ones to do to trigger the story moving along, or if it's just you have to complete like X number before you get the area unlocked that you need to, that as part of the story. Because the story's getting really interesting. And like I said, it's a good thing that the little arcs, which are these little almost like episodic stories within the story, are entertaining, because the story, while it's very intriguing, is very sparse throughout the campaign.
Now I bought this game last week, and I'm not terribly far into it, but I'm
in England yet? Have you seen a title screen?
Yes, I'm in England, and I'm looking for my brother in Leicestershire, and so it's super early, right? Got my settlement, did a couple of raids to build it up a little bit, and it's easy to get lost in that game, which is kind of cool,
and yet easy to not to stay on the path,
to be focused.
Yes,
it's easy to be focused.
It's actually easy to do it either which way. So
it's very in terms of exploration of an open world from a Ubisoft games, particularly an Assassin's Creed game. I'm very satisfied with it. Like Odyssey kind of did that, but Odyssey you just get lost.
Too much voting in Odyssey.
Yeah, you just get lost in Odyssey, right? But this I enjoy, right? I met a guy who had an axe stuck in his head.
Oh, you met the Axeman.
Yeah, and so it's very funny. It's funnier than I thought it would be. When they said Norse mythology, I thought that the whole thing was going to be in like Norway. And I'm like, all right, well, what kind of varied environments are we going to see? But no, like it's actually a really good looking game with very it's a very unique looking game, especially from the previous Assassin's Creed.
And not to spoil things for longtime Assassin's Creed fans like yourself, Micah, Europe, not the only continent that you visit in this game.
Oh, well, okay.
I'm not going to say anything more than that, but there might be some callbacks to some other games in the series.
Excellent.
That are unexpected. So.
I don't know what the hell is going on with the metagame. I don't know what's going on with the story outside of the Animus.
Oh, I've almost ignored that completely. Like they say that when significant things happen in the main story. If you want the full breadth of the anime story, you should voluntarily like bounce out and for a few minutes and just talk to your compatriots and whatnot outside of the animus. I did that once. I don't care. I'm just doing Viking things. Like I don't give a shit
Yeah.
about what's going on outside of the animus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I couldn't care less.
I read a little bit about it and I'm just like, why do they keep doing this? Why? Like, let's just, like, we all accept the fact that we all know that we're playing a video game,
Mhm.
right? Like, we don't need the actual game to know that we are playing a video game, but doesn't want to admit that we're playing a video game. So we have this meta story about a person reliving the memories of someone, essentially playing a video game through the memories of, like, nah, yo, like let's just do these stories and let's just talk about like the Assassin's Guild or whatever. Like, we don't need the meta story. The combat really threw me for a loop for a little bit.
Yeah.
It took a while to kind of, it still takes a while to get used to. One, I'm still, as much as I've played Odyssey, I'm still not used to shoulder buttons being primary forms of combat. But I'm getting used to it because I'm trying not to, switch controls and all that. And yeah, it feels different. It feels very different. But I like it. And you're right. I think you a couple weeks ago you said like it just feels, it feels different. It feels like you're a Viking swinging your big axes and shit. And yeah, I dig it. So I was on the fence about this Assassin's Creed just because Norse mythology wasn't my, not even Norse mythology, like the setting wasn't my favorite. But no, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot.
I just hope I can finish it before Cyberpunk. I don't want to have to
Yeah.
to it. I want to be able to come back to it to do side stuff, but not necessarily to have to plunge back into the story when you need to be hyper competent at what you're doing. So
yeah. I'm also having a good time with Yakuza Like a Dragon. Like
still going on.
Yeah, I'm still playing.
I figured you'd have beat it by now, honestly.
No, not. I mean, I hate to sound like Jay, but I just don't have enough time. But that's a long game but I can. That's a game that I can kind of jump in and out of, with no problem because I play a little bit of it every day. It's just so silly, and so like like there's a job system, and everyone like changes their outfits when they get into combat, and it's so weird, man, because it's like in a normal RPG, you would have some sort of spell or what have you that would up your defense. Well, one of the characters, in order to up her defense, puts on makeup because that's what you do. You just put on makeup, and that's an extra layer of protection. Instead of a sword, the main character who sees himself as a hero, he has a barbed wired bat that he uses as a sword. Like, it's a very cool mix of fantasy RPG elements in like a real world setting, and incredibly silly. I am having a good time with that game.
Well, if you need new games to play, look no further than the giant list that I have in front of me. First, PlayStation announced their free games for PlayStation Plus this week. Just Cause 4 is up there for free, so worthy if you want to run around and blow shit up and ride airplanes and stuff like that. That's a pretty fun one. Rocket Arena, the 3v3 shooter where everyone has rocket launchers from EA, is out for free, as well as Worms Rumble. So it looks like they're going to just go with 3 games for free now every single month, instead of doing 1 PS5 exclusive and then 2 for PS4. So that's there. As far as new games go, Football Manager 2021 comes to Series X and Xbox One this week. Football Manager Touch comes to PC. Chronos Before the Ashes, PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and Stadia. Empire Sin, PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Rainbow Six Siege gets their PS5 and Xbox Series X upgrades. Red Dead Online comes to PC, PS4, and Xbox. Twin Mirror Lost on Arrival comes to PC, PS4, and Xbox. Worms Rumble comes to PC, PS5, and PS4. Sam & Max Save the World Remastered comes to PC and Switch. Death Tales comes to Switch. El Hijo, a Wild West Tale, comes to PC and Stadia. Immortals Phoenix Rising, nay, Gods and Monsters, comes to PC, PS5, Series X, PS4, Xbox, Switch, and Stadia. Morbid, The Seven Acolytes, comes to PC, PS4, Xbox, and Switch. Phoenix Point Year One Edition comes to PC. Shiren the Wanderer The Tower of Fortune, The Dice of Fate comes to PC. Startup Panic to PC. Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythmic Adventure Pack comes to Nintendo Switch. Tinkertown comes to PC. Commandos 2 HD Remastered to Switch. Dark, DARQ Complete Edition, PC, PS4, and Xbox. Dragon Quest XI S, Echoes of an Elusive Age, Definitive Edition comes to PC, PS4, and Xbox. FIFA 21 gets its next-gen upgrade this week. Fitness Boxing 2, Rhythm and Exercise comes to Switch. John Wick's Hex comes to Xbox and Switch. And Madden 21 also gets its next-gen upgrade this week as well.
Jesus.
That's a list.
That's a lot of games.
A lot of games.
It's a lot of games that I just have no interest in whatsoever.
I had the opportunity to buy FIFA for like half off this week because of the Black Friday sales, and I passed.
Wow.
Gonna pass this year. So
that should tell you something, because Brad is an actual soccer fan, and not one of these people who are into soccer when it's World Cup time.
More on FIFA in the news.
There you go. Go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe, and click the subscribe button and click the bell notification icon, or we'll have Jake Paul come in and whoop your fucking ass and lay your ass out. Of course, that was going to be.
I'm so happy that I was able to remain oblivious to the particular that what I assume had to be a shit show. Who was he fighting again? I don't even remember.
He was fighting a retired basketball player named Nate Robinson.
I know Nate Robinson, the big dog.
Yeah. Played for the Knicks, and apparently he got his ass laid out. So like and subscribe, or else subscribe to while you're just over there handing out subscriptions. Go to subscribe to all the TMP Studios podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. They include the Nerdpocalypse, which may or may not be on this week. I have to talk to Jay about something. Black on Black Cinema. We took a break for the holiday, but this week, Black on Black Cinema will be releasing the episode on Life, starring Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. Coming Distractions, the contemporary movie review podcast. If there's a movie that you're thinking about getting on Blu-ray or digitally, see if we did a review about it first and see if we liked it. And the weekly preview episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast. If that's not enough, for $5 a month or $50 a year, you get access to the premium slate of podcasts, including the Airing of Grievances, our Seinfeld review show, No Time to Bleed, our action movie podcast, The Men with the Golden Tongues, our James Bond espionage spy movie podcast, Upstage Conversation, our musical podcast, or the full, usually 2 hour, sometimes 2.5 hour episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast. This week, Brad was on the Look Forward Political Podcast, and Brad and Jay debated on whether or not the phrase panda lover is racist. It sure sounds racist.
It sounds racist.
But it was an excellent episode. Look, as a person who is aware of politics, but not versed enough to talk about it, but I'm aware of it. That show by itself is worth your $5 a month. But when you couple that with the Men with the Golden Tongues, I mean, you're getting a real bargain.
That's right.
And then,
what a backlog of episodes there.
I mean, look, do you like James Bond movies? Because we got your James Bond movie reviews. And then all the other podcasts are just the icing and cherry on top of the cake. So $5 a month, $50 a year, densepixels.com/premium.
Yes. And again, don't forget to listen to premium shows, use a web browser because the Podbean app
Yeah,
broke
Podbean
itself.
is on something. Podbean is smoking something right now. So use a browser.
Speaking of people that need money, Marvel's Avengers has been when it came out, we talked about it favorably, and then it became exactly what me and Terrence expected it to become. And now it's been a bit of a punching bag on the show, and why break with tradition? Reportedly, Marvel's Avengers has yet to earn back the money spent on its development. Square Enix has conceded, showing a £50 million loss for the quarter for Q4 or Q3 2020. According to Square president Yasuke Matsuda, sales of the big budget blockbuster were, quote, lower than expected. And their loss, Square Enix's overall loss for the quarter, was caused by a mixture of low Marvel's Avengers retail sales and the amount of money that it spent on advertising for the game. Notable that Marvel's Avengers, in the recent Black Friday sales that the various stores ran and that retailers ran, half off over this past week or so.
That game came out. That game came out in like September, and it's half off. Is it worth buying for half off? What's half? $30?
$30.
Yeah, it's worth playing for $30. Just for the story is worth playing for $30, and you'll probably get, if you're coming in late, you'll probably get some enjoyment out of some of their end game content. But just know that once you beat that story, it's a bit of a fall. And look, I stand by the fact that game is fun to play. It's just it gets to the point of monotony, and I don't. Kate Bishop isn't bringing me back, so.
Yeah, they apparently Square anticipated selling 5 million copies by this point. It sold about 3 million copies, which is not a poor number, but it's a poor number for something with the licensing power and the budget that Avengers has behind it. I would think.
Yeah, something that is trading off of that name after Marvel Studios has really changed the film industry. Like that name holds some weight, man. And I can't say I'm surprised, right? Like no one knew what this game was, and they had a very difficult time trying to get it out there. And I think had this just been a single player experience with additional, like DLC packs or story packs or things like that continued the story, much like the Spider-Man model. This thing would have done gangbusters. But we gotta be greedy, I guess. And think of all the double dipping you could have done. Like I don't know, man.
I mean, they couldn't make up the gap in sales with $14 costumes for characters.
Right, like come on, man. And that's the thing, right? That's the thing. If you wanted to be dicks about it, if you had a single player story with like you could have done all that. You could have had a $14 pack that had like an outfit for everyone, not just $14 for one skin. But there were ways that you could make this thing work. The last time I turned that game on, they halved all of the prices for the premium skins. So they weren't $14 now. They're $7, which
Have
is
it,
still
have it again. You might be onto something.
right. Like that's still outrageous.
So, some interesting news came out this week. So, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, a very famous soccer player, very quirky is a good way to describe how he is. Decided to basically inquire and kind of outwardly wondered how is it that FIFA is able to use his rights or his likeness and his name in the FIFA video game series without paying him any kind of money. And so a couple other footballers also, outwardly kind of piggybacked onto this. And then Zlatan's agent, a fellow by the name of Mino Raiola, definitely picked up the torch for him and is basically yelling and screaming about this isn't fair. FIFA can't do this. This is bullshit. And they've been kicking up a lot of noise on Twitter. Here's the problem, though, is that EA licenses players, likeness and names through a players union called FIFPro, which pretty much every player that actively plays in any FIFA sponsored leagues around the world is a member of. Because so in most, with most sports games, you just negotiate with the players union for that sport. But since soccer is so spread out across the world, FIFA has its own kind of union that works with all of the different leagues and all of the different clubs and players to license those folks out as well. And that's who EA does business with, because it wouldn't really be realistic to negotiate with each individual player on their own. Right. And so Zlatan's agent went on a talk radio show in England to discuss this with a couple of the hosts that are on the program. They've been trying to champion this thing, oh, this isn't right. This is my image, this, that, or the other thing. Ultimately, it's all about money at the end of the day. They see an opportunity to make money, and they want to get paid. What's interesting, the reason that they're going after this, I think, is because it was a big deal came out that EA paid David Beckham a fair sum of money this year for his likeness and image to use as one of the Legends players in the FIFA Ultimate Team game mode. Problem is that David Beckham is a retired football player. He does not currently play for any club. So his likeness, his image rights are his alone to negotiate. He doesn't have to go through FIFA. But I think because of how much money was given to David Beckham, they're just like, holy shit, there's money to be made here. But I don't see where it's tough, because I don't see where they're going to have a leg to stand on in terms of this. The other problem is that this is also undercut by the fact that Gareth Bale, Tottenham Hotspur player, was one of the other players that kind of piggybacked onto this, not quite as loudly. He was literally on the cover of FIFA 13 a few years ago. And one of the other things FIFA does is when you're on the team of the week in Ultimate Team, they'll usually send a representative out to where your club trains, and they'll have you pose for a picture with an oversized version of the Ultimate Team card that is representing you. It's kind of like a novelty check of sorts. And not any more recent than last year was Zlatan himself posing and advertising himself for Ultimate Team. Not a problem back then to be in FIFA, apparently, despite not getting paid any additional fees. But yeah, and so basically agents seem to, apparently they want to really push this and try to see what they can get out of this from EA.
It sounds like there needs to have a meeting at FIFPro, is what it sounds like.
I guess like EA came out and was like, hey, this is legit. This is who we negotiate with. I don't know what the fuck these guys are talking about. They have a pretty pretty strong case. And EA even said that they've worked with this Mino Raiola before in a relationship for one of his previous clients who's no longer an active player. That's part of their Legends campaign as well. Like that they worked out an individual deal. So it's not like this is new information to this dude.
Yeah, man. Like this isn't like when EA was making money off of the likenesses of NCAA players, right? Like, because they don't. Well, I don't know if they get. I think they get paid now, but
They
back
do
then,
now. Well, I mean, if they ever made another NCAA game, they would.
right? But they didn't back then, and then you got a grievance. But this just seems like. I mean, I don't want to side with the radio show guy because like sports radio show people are annoying, but yeah, it kind of sounds like this agent just wants some more cash
For scratch. Absolutely.
And look, I ain't mad at him. I don't think it's gonna work.
and this isn't unprecedented, by the way, either. Like, you have examples through history. Probably like most famously, Michael Jordan somehow was able to get his image and likeness separately negotiated from everybody else in the NBA because he had his own game. I think Shaq also had the same kind of deal as well, because I don't remember Shaq being in any of the licensed NBA games, or at least not all of them as you went. So it's not an impossible situation. But again, with this, I just don't seem to know how far they're going to get here. And you would think if you were really serious about it and you really cared about it, that you would file like an injunction temporarily to get them to basically patch him out of the game until whatever litigation you want to pursue is settled. But they also don't really care, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm not a soccer, a football fan, but I'm gonna guess that Zlatan Ibrahimovic is not a household name like Michael Jordan.
In the world of soccer, he would.
In the world of soccer, he is.
Yes.
Okay.
The world's most popular sport.
Right, but I think people around the world knew who Michael Jordan was.
I would say if Messi and Ronaldo are
like I know who they are,
right? Zlatan would be like a Charles Barkley of sorts.
Okay,
is that a good comparison for you?
Okay, all right, yeah, okay, and Charles Barkley wasn't like he's on the next tier down of notoriety from the most well known. Okay, so this isn't just like some random dude.
No, this is someone and someone notable for being very outspoken. In many ways, he's like the soccer embodiment of like the Salt Bay guy. Like, they kind of look the same.
All right, I gotta see what this is.
Yeah, he's a cool, Zlatan's a cool guy. He's kind of playing out the string at the end of his career, in AC Milan right now. But he's an interesting character. But I'm pretty sure he does like getting paid. So
yeah, look, I'm not mad at him, man. If you think you can get some, get some extra cash, man, like do it. And if he knows his worth, go ahead, man. Do it.
I wonder. If I had a list of like the most popular soccer players in the world, I wonder how many Micah has heard of.
You can play that game if you want. It'll be real short.
Neymar.
Isn't he a Fantastic Four and Black Panther villain? He was a mutant.
All right, I feel like we're already
the king of Atlantis.
I feel like we're already done then. If you don't know who Neymar is, then I believe we peaked with Messi and Ronaldo. Like, those two are the only ones.
Pele. I know
Pele is an old man.
Yeah.
Has not played soccer in quite some time.
I don't know if I know anybody.
Are you aware that Diego Maradona died last week?
I don't know who that is.
All right.
I'm sorry for the fans of this person, but I don't know who that is.
Maradona was basically like the Ric Flair of football.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah,
I hate to see that.
in many ways.
But David Beckham's still alive, right?
David Beckham's still alive.
Okay. All right. That's who I know. Look, this is how much I don't know about soccer. I can see the woman in my head, in my mind's eye. I can see the U.S. soccer player
Mm-hmm.
who was kicking ass, and I think she recently got married. I can't remember her name.
Megan Rapinoe.
Thank you. That's it. Yeah, I knew what she looked like. I just couldn't remember her name. That's how out of touch I am with apparently the world.
I mean, to be fair, much of America in that sense is out of touch with the rest of the world. Not the only topic in many ways that we are out of sync with everybody else on. So there's that. Square Enix has committed to giving employees a permanent option going forward to work from home. In a press release, they said that working from home would be established as a permanent and core program alongside other work styles starting on December 1st. In so doing, the company hopes not only to create a flexible and diverse working environment, but also to further bolster productivity and help employees achieve the optimal work-life balance. What do you think about permanent work from home becoming more the norm in the gaming industry?
I, on the one hand, I don't think it's a bad idea. On the other hand, there's this whole thing about crunch, and when you work from home, it doesn't, your employer doesn't or shouldn't be imposing this on you.
Mm-hmm.
But when you work from home, I don't know about most people, but I get the feeling that if I'm working from home, I should be working at hours that are not necessarily designated as my work hours, right? Like, oh man, I probably can get this done. Let me just hop on here for 30 minutes to try and do. I was doing work right before we started this podcast, and we start around 6:00 EST. Normally I don't work that late, so I'm curious. If crunch is so prevalent, I think working from home is going to make it worse. I don't know if any of that makes sense.
I mean, for me personally, like it's cool they have the option. You can tell that I'm not someone who's worked from home pretty much ever.
It's weird.
I would find it is weird because I did it for a few weeks this spring when COVID first kicked off. For me, I found it difficult because it's difficult. I found it more difficult to collaborate with folks when you need to, and I don't know. I just kind of like the hustle and bustle of being in an office. That's just me personally. I'd be interested to talk to Carrie about this because Carrie switched careers and now she exclusively works from home. Like she works like she's not even in the same state as her home office for who she works for. So she does all of her work from home. So I'd be curious to see how her opinion on that has formed kind of in the months that she's been doing what she's been doing, because she used to go to the office and do all that stuff, and it's probably a bit of a culture change. So, and when was the last time you were even in the office for your job?
I have to go maybe once a month because of the nature of my job. I have to do field visits. I have to do one this week or by Monday, actually. So I go in about once a month, but I don't go into the actual office. I go straight to my job site, do my field design, or check in the field conditions, and then come back home and do my design. But I'm like you, man. I don't. There's too much distraction, right?
And that's the other problem too, is that it's not like you have a separate office apart from your like playtime office to work in. So
yeah, like when the 10th comes around, I'm not doing any work. It's sitting right here in front of my face. Like I'm not going to do any work. So it's I don't mind going into work. It's great that I don't have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get there, and my commute is an hour each way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great that I don't have to do that. But at the same time, you know, and it's not like I'm working from home in complete silence.
Mm-hmm.
Like
you got a toddler in the next room, and
right. And the wife downstairs, and we got the situation that we have. So it's very weird. I used to have one dedicated telework day a week, and that was perfect, right? Because I could kind of get my work done, but it was also like in the middle of the week, just a break, and then I can go back on Tuesday and Friday. But it's yeah, no. So, but in terms of like the video game industry, I hope it works out for people. You know, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is to work in the video game industry on that side. But I would imagine that most of what they're doing is on a computer, right? But like you said, when you have to work with people, then challenges arise. So,
but good. Like I said, I hope that more companies set that up for their folks if they if that's something they want to do even after we're past the worst of the pandemic going on right now.
Yeah.
So we talked last week about scalpers, huge problem with this new generation of consoles, and they're getting a little bold. Like they're starting to brag about some shit online, and it's ended up in some pretty bad consequences so far. In the fan group this week, I posted about a guy who bragged on Twitter about like a stack of PS5s that he had, like tens, possibly hundreds of PS5s. He took a picture of it, posted it on Twitter, along something like fuck your feelings, that kind of thing, like I'm gonna get paid. Someone within minutes was able to look at the metadata or the exadata on the photograph that he posted, found out where he was, like where he lived, and fucking robbed his house of the systems. That could be bullshit. It seemed like it might have been true online or not. The other good story comes from a group of so we talked about how there's like organized groups that are working together and coordinating to obtain these systems, and then basically share the profits in some ways. And so there's a group that claimed to have ordered 2,500 PS5s at launch. They then claimed today on social media that they had over 1,000 Xbox Series X consoles from a, quote, very well-known online retailer. Now, this is a group that literally charges a £30 monthly subscription, or you can be a lifetime member of this group for £400 to give members information on how to scalp themselves and basically and kind of join their effort. So what happened is basically the retailer, which is a company called Very, which operates in Europe, found out about it because they decided to brag online and then canceled all those orders that that the group made, leaving them holding the bag. As
good.
Fuck them.
Good. Scalpers, man, it's there was a meme going around. Someone said something on Twitter about, like, to all the adults who have these systems, how do you feel knowing that you snatched one out of the hands of a child? No, I didn't. I bought one for me. The people who are buying thousands of these and then selling them at triple the cost are the people who you need to draw your ire at. And yeah, fuck these people, man. Fuck them.
That Twitter post was wild too. The ones like, "Oh, you ripped it out of the hands of a child." First of all, these are toys for adults. If a child happens to play them, great. And if you are a child that was hoping for a PS5 and your parents couldn't find a way to get you one, maybe they don't actually love you that much. Think about that. Did you ever stop to consider that maybe that's the case? Maybe you just have bad parents. Maybe your parents just stink.
Oh shit, that's right. When Arnold Schwarzenegger had to find a Turbo Man doll for Anakin Skywalker,
that's right.
He did a bunch of bullshit to get it.
He did.
Phil Hartman was trying to have sex with his wife. And Sinbad was fighting him for the Turbo Man doll. Nah, yo. And then he ended up turning into Turbo Man for his son. That's what you got to do as a parent.
I don't feel like that you can. I don't feel like that you can say the name of that figure without saying it correctly.
Turbo Man.
Turbo Man. Turbo Man. Oh my God! Speaking of that movie, if you go on YouTube and look for the put that cookie down remix, that's an excellent piece of oral entertainment for your ears. Very good.
You know, not many video game podcasts are going to give you Jingle All the Way references.
True.
But that's just something that we do for you.
That movie, prepare yourself to be hit with a wave of aches and pains, Micah. That movie turns 25 years old next year.
God damn.
Or wait, I think it's 25 years old. I want to say it came out in 1996.
Jesus.
Let me hang on a second here. We're gonna look at IMDb as we speak to see. Yeah, 1996 is when that movie released.
Goodness gracious. I like that movie. I'm an Arnold apologist. I will watch anything Arnold Schwarzenegger is in.
It's fine.
I'm fascinated by that guy.
It's funny. It's seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger in a movie that's not an action film is always funny, just because of the juxtaposition of Arnold Schwarzenegger just like in a holiday comedy, essentially. Like it's funny and it's in and of itself. It adds a degree of humor that wouldn't normally be there.
Yeah,
if it was just some other actor.
Yeah. So yeah, screw scalpers and find that. Put that cookie down remix.
It may find its way to the end of the show tonight. We'll see. We'll see.
Oh my goodness gracious. Go to densepixels.com/Amazon for all of your Amazon purchases. When you go to densepixels.com/Amazon for all of your Amazon purchases, you get what you're looking for and you help the show out. Apparently they made a Jingle All the Way 2 with Larry the Cable Guy. Don't get that one.
No,
don't get that one.
Don't even watch that one. I can't imagine that there's any redeemable qualities in that film.
Right. I don't really talk like
this. They waited almost 20 years to do that.
Here's how you know that movie is garbage. I went to densepixels.com/Amazon, typed in Jingle All the Way Blu-ray, and the first thing that comes up is a Jingle All the Way / Deck the Halls 2-pack. They didn't even put the sequel to Jingle All the Way in the Jingle All the Way 2 movie pack.
So listen to this. Listen to this. So I'm looking at the cast list for Jingle All the Way 2. There's only one other person who is a known name in this film. And I say person very deliberately because it's not an actor, or at least not an actor in the traditional sense. The only other person on this entire cast list that I recognize is Anthony Corelli. And Micah, you might say to yourself, who is Anthony Corelli? You might know him better as Santino Marella, former WWE superstar, who apparently is in Jingle All the Way too.
Wow. Jesus Christ.
So there's that. The budget for that film had to be like $5.
Oh man, how much is a snake sock puppet? Probably how much. It's probably how much it was.
$6.
Go to densepixels.com/Amazon and get yourself a Jingle All the Way Blu-ray for $15.
Only one big news story this week. I just found it more interesting than anything else. So Vice was leaked some internal documents from Sony that talked about how single player games, despite everyone being like, oh, single player's dying, this, that, or the other, actually are, according to Sony's internal tracking data, says that the genre, I guess it's not really a genre, but those style of games are actually thriving, and that PlayStation users regularly spend more time playing offline than online, so, which would suggest that they are, playing a lot more single player experiences. And then the company, what I found even more interesting is that these documents outline the things that players say are their biggest issues with single player games. And here's some of the things they said. And I want you to think about the PS5 specifically as I read these. I have no idea how long I need to play because I don't play unless I have two or more free hours of free time for single player games. Takes a lot of time to scan through long help videos when I'm stuck at a certain point in the game. I want to be able to engage socially without risk of spoiling myself from other games. And then I forgot what I was doing in this game last time I played, and it's hard to get back into it when you've been away for a while. Three of those things have been directly addressed with features that are in the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, like like no bullshit, yo. Like I have no idea how long to play. Hit that little PS button. It'll tell you what mission you're on, how far you're in, and how long it takes to finish it. Wow. Takes a lot of time to get through long videos when stuck. How to engage socially. Oh, you want to engage socially? Here's a split screen. You and your friends could play games together.
Not even that, but they have the ability that I don't know if you dug this far down to your menu on PS5, but like when your friends
that's right
shots, if you have not gotten to that point in the game that they shared with you, it literally gives you a spoiler warning before you see the screenshot that you can back away from if you don't want to see it, if it's something that you don't want to spoil for yourself.
Wow. This is well, hey, they're paying attention. Focus testing, it works.
Well, and it's funny because if any company is going to have success with single player games, it's going to be Sony, because they seem to be the only, aside from Bethesda, they're the only like major game publisher who seems to want to spend a significant amount of time investing in them. It seems like every other big publisher wants to find a way to incorporate as much social interactivity and as much multiplayer as it makes sense to incorporate into any game that they're putting out, instead of just focusing on single player experience. Another good case in point is like Assassin's Creed Valhalla is an exclusively single player experience. The only multiplayer connection it has is that you can recruit like other players' Vikings to join your raiding party, but it doesn't actually have an impact on your gameplay.
Yeah, that's like
a passive thing.
Yeah, that's like asynchronous multiplayer, right? Like that doesn't really count. It'll be interesting to see how Microsoft answers the single player issue, the single player experience issue, especially with them buying up literally every company that they can. Like you mentioned Bethesda, like
I guess that's how they're going to tackle it. Is just by buying the other company that makes notable long single player adventures almost exclusively. So, and like I said, they tried to dip their foot in the pool of multiplayer, and that blew up in their fucking face. So.
Wow, that's look. Single player experiences aren't going away. It's how you tell. It's how you if you care about games as a storytelling medium, it's how you tell the best stories. Quite frankly, some developers care more about telling their story than developing a good game. Last of Us. So if and it has the luxury of being able to tell a long form story, right? Like all of these long-winded blowhards who want to be film directors but just have so much that they just have to get out. Hideo Kojima, I like it's this is the perfect medium for them. You just got to figure out that pesky thing of making the game part.
You can hire people to do that.
But yeah, I love single player experiences. And you know, maybe it's because I don't have a lot of friends, but I love single player experiences in video games. I will play. Like I was this close to buying that Call of Duty because people were like, "Oh, the actual story is great," but I can't justify the $70 quite yet.
Right. Well, and single player games are a great way to separate the wheat from the chaff in terms of how up to snuff a development team is. Like, it's one thing to make a multiplayer game loop that is good. It's much more difficult to make a single player game that doesn't get boring, 40, 50 hours into the mix. I mean, one of your favorite game from this year arguably is Ghost of Tsushima, and that's a great execution of game design, I would say.
Yeah. I couldn't believe how into that game I was. Well, I could, but it's really a testament to Sucker Punch, and the fact that they were able to tack on a multiplayer component on it that felt like it needed to be there. You know what I mean? Like anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but yeah, man, single player experiences aren't going anywhere. Just like your battle royales and your all that competitive stuff, that's not going anywhere either. Like there is a space for both. And in this world where people they want to do one thing or the other thing, like it's not like there's space for both. And yeah, give me my single player experiences, and I'm going to start using my Xbox for some of my single player experiences also, because that thing didn't get a lot of love last gen from me, because there wasn't anything like they didn't. I prefer single player games, and they didn't have that many, right? Like they didn't have that many that I thought were good.
I mean, if you want to sacrifice that and play those single player experiences with an inferior controller, then that's your prerogative. Look, are you going to want to give up the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, Micah?
Look, it depends, man. I have to see what they do in an actual, not that Astro's Playroom isn't an actual game. I want to see what they do in something that's not a shooter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like from what I understand, the Call of Duty on PlayStation feels incredible, with the way the guns and stuff work. But at the same time, I need something. I need something more. I need a different type of game for that to work for me.
So as we were talking, I just realized that we missed last week the Game Awards nominees. We did not talk about those. We usually do. So I sent you the link for the Wikipedia page because the Game Awards actual page is a mess because it has so much shit to load that it kept crashing Safari on me. So we'll just do it from the Wikipedia page. So we'll go quickly through, not going to go through every single category because who gives a fuck about esports team of the year and whatnot. But let's go through quickly for the categories that matter, who we think is going to win and who we want to win in each category.
Okay.
So game of the year, we won't do every nominee in every category, but for the big ones, let's talk about that. So game of the year, your nominees: Animal Crossing: New Horizons, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and Last of Us Part 2. Who do you think will win, and who do you want to win?
Who I want to win is it's a real toss up between Ghost of Tsushima and Hades. It's a I mean, they're 1 and 1A, or they're 1 and A, because 1A, denotes that it's inferior to 1, but they're 1 and A. And if gun to my head, I would want Hades to win.
Yeah.
What do I think will win?
Mm-hmm.
I think The Last of Us has a solid chance of winning, just because people. Naughty Dog has this power over people, right? Like, they make okay games. They're not bad at all, but all the accoutrement, all the polish, all the acting, the way the story is presented, not necessarily the actual story. Like, people like all that shit. And people claim like, graphics don't matter to me. Yeah, they do. That's why The Last of Us is as popular as it is. Like, that game is a subpar. It's an adequate stealth game with an okay story, from what I know, presented in an incredible way. And I think that's going to have an effect on people. So I think The Last of Us Part 2 might win.
Mm-hmm.
If Hades or Ghost of Tsushima win, I will be ecstatic.
I both think and want Hades to win. I think Hades will win.
I hope so.
I do. Best game direction, all these games, not Animal Crossing, and Half-Life Alyx is also on this list as well. Also Doom Eternal not on this list. I think they'll give this to Ghost of Tsushima.
I hope so. But when you talk about, no, you're right. This should be Ghost of Tsushima. Mm-hmm. This is the award that they should get.
Yes. Art direction. Art direction is tough, man. I'd probably lean to give that to Ghost of Tsushima. I think Hades might get it. I think Ori has a shot at getting it. Ori's on that nominee list as well, but I would probably like to see Ghost of Tsushima because its style was such a selling point, such a feature of that game.
I agree, but I think Hades will win it. I don't know. The Supergiant's art direction kind of all looks the same, except for maybe Pyre. So if Final Fantasy looks like Final Fantasy, it's just pretty. It's either Ori or Ghost of Tsushima, and I want Ghost of Tsushima, but I would say that something else will win it. Maybe Ori. I don't know.
I'm going to jump you down to best performance because you are much more versed. Like literally your 3 favorite games this year, there's performances nominated from each of them in this category. So I'm curious to see, of those 3, who you think should win and might stand the best chance of
winning. Ashley Johnson as Ellie, and The Last of Us, Laura Bailey as Abby, Daisuke Suju as Jin Sakai, Logan Cunningham as Hades, and Najee Jeter as Miles Morales. From the clips of Last of Us that I've seen, Last of Us Part 2 that I've seen, they are presentation. Ain't nothing wrong with the acting in that game. They're acting their asses off. And I think Laura Bailey is a superstar in terms of voice acting. So she's a strong front runner. I got a soft spot for Miles, but I don't think I can kick him out of the running. Logan Cunningham as Hades, he does a very good job, but he is all voice. And not saying that his acting is bad, but he has a commanding voice. He does a lot of voices in that game, by the way.
I would personally give him for his performance as Charon in Hades.
I think it'll go to Laura Bailey. I think it'll go to Laura Bailey.
Under best community support, so this is like ongoing games that are supported by developers long term. I really hope Fall Guys wins this. I think that of games that launched that were like a phenomenon, I don't recall ever seeing anyone roll with it and give their fans what they want and work harder and be more upfront with their players than the Fall Guys developers were. I really do hope that they win this award, because I don't think they should get best indie, because I think Hades is going to walk with that, without any particular drama. But I think his best community support, like even over Apex, Fortnite, Destiny, No Man's Sky, and Valorant, like I think it should go to those guys.
I think it would go to those guys for the simple fact that it's a cool story.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like politics plays a lot into this. Not politics in the traditional sense of like politics, but politics plays a bit into this. And I think this would be like, you're not going to give it to Fortnite. Come on, man. You know, yeah. I think it'll go to the Fall Guys people.
Best action game: Doom Eternal, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, Neo 2, and Streets of Rage 4. You know where my heart lies. I'd be curious to know if you have any.
My heart lies right there with you. Do people still like love Doom?
They do. It
I think a lot of PC people do, right?
Yeah.
Because for some reason I'm thinking Doom would probably get best action game because it's very twitchy and very like action. You know what I mean? Like I don't think the other ones will fit.
A Sophie's choice for you in action adventure, because you have to choose between Ghost of Tsushima and Spider-Man Miles Morales for action adventure game.
As much as I love Spider-Man, it is more the same, and it's a lot easier than the previous Spider-Man. Whereas Ghost of Tsushima has more interesting mechanics. It's borderline a Souls game, right? Like you have to, but it's an easier Souls game. Like you have to. There's a lot of patience and timing involved in Ghost of Tsushima's combat. Whereas Spider-Man, you can mash through Spider-Man and get through it. So yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is it for me.
Okay. I would pick Valhalla, but that's only because that's the only one I've played. Well, that's not true. I played a little bit of Star Wars, which I didn't care for. RPG, you picking Final Fantasy 7 or Yakuza, Michael?
I'm picking Yakuza. Get the fuck out of here, yo. Get the fuck out of here.
Over Final Fantasy 7 remake. Interesting.
Yes. Well, it's all about for me what you can do, what it brings to the table, right? Like Final Fantasy is a great game.
You are aware Final Fantasy is going to win this category, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
just making sure.
Of course. This is what I want to win. I want either Yakuza or well, maybe not Persona, because Yakuza, as much as I think that it is greater than the sum of its parts, I think Final Fantasy will, one, the nostalgia factor, absolutely. And two, the nostalgia factor, absolutely. I'm just being a dick. Final Fantasy did take a system that is tried and true that everyone knows, and they redid it, and they redid it well. But as much as, that's winning. But I just, Yakuza has a special place in my heart, man.
The list of fighting game nominees is interesting. Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate Edition and Street Fighter V Champion Edition both got nominated. That's how you know how lean of a year it was for fighting games, and they had to nominate the iterative versions of these games. Mortal Kombat essentially is just a Game of the Year version,
right?
Essentially, the other new games on the list, and God help me, I hope one of them wins. Not Street Fighter Mortal Kombat. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, which probably has the inside.
That should win. Yeah,
Under Night in Birth is on there, and then One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows, somehow made it to the game, despite not being an actual fighting game. That's interesting. Best family game, Animal Crossing is winning that. Like, don't even fight. Like, you could have just nominated Animal Crossing and just had that be the only nominee, because there's no question in my mind that that's going to fucking walk with that category.
You could have nominated Animal. You could have nominated Crossing. You could have nominated New. You could have nominated Horizons, and then that would have been your lineup. Yeah, of course that's winning.
Best multiplayer is interesting. It's a very diverse list of games this year, because you got Animal Crossing, which I don't really think about it as a multiplayer game. I understand it has multiplayer in it. But Among Us is on there, Call of Duty Warzone is on there, Fall Guys is on there, and Valorant is on there. Among Us might just fucking win this award.
Yep,
man.
that's it. That's what I was thinking. Because it came back from the dead, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it has Congress people playing it. like like that game, that, you know, like, it's like one of the questions that we have in the post office is about us playing Among Us.
Right.
You know, like, he didn't ask when are we all gonna play Valorant.
and then we'll end with our favorite award every year that we always have to talk about how amazing it's awarded. Most anticipated game that they always have to do, the Get Hype Award for 2020. Elden Ring, God of War sequel, Halo Infinite, Horizon Forbidden West, Resident Evil Village, and Breath of the Wild sequel. Micah, what is going to win most anticipated game?
The winner of the subjective award goes to Who Cares? They don't even have a name for God of War, yo. They don't have a name for it.
or Breath of the Wild sequel. I'm pretty sure that's going to be its official title. It's just Breath of the Wild sequel. What a stupid award. I can't believe this fucking thing out every year. Good Lord. Good Lord.
Oh man.
Insane.
Yeah. I don't care. I don't care.
I didn't even need to know. I just
show me footage of all of these.
So this the Game Awards unwisely streaming on December 10th. Who the fuck is gonna be watching this?
Yo, Rick.
Come on. Come on. But we'll hit you back with a recap on that after that happens. Really, I mean, not Jeff Keighley's fault. He had that date way before they moved it back.
Yeah,
you know he had to be a little upset. Shit, I don't even know if Jeff Keighley's gonna be there. He's gonna. Jeff Keighley's like, I can't host the show this year. I'm playing Cyberpunk right now.
He might just tape the whole damn thing and just play it in the background while he's playing Cyberpunk. Oh man, that is amusing.
We go to the post office. Only a couple questions this week. Trey says, if Rockstar, as a flex, decided to pull a Sega and give GTA 6 an RPG battle system, would fans go for it? No,
not the people that play that game, not the people who Facebook keeps telling me that I want to see them play video games. They're not going to. It's always a bunch of people who sound like they should be in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You know what I mean? It's like a bunch of Jorgs and Vorgensons and just a bunch of people from over there who love playing that game. No, they wouldn't go for it.
Nor would Rockstar ever.
No, Rockstar wouldn't go for it. Get out of here.
Johnny does not have a question. He says, shout out to Max Dude for hosting an official Twitch Rivals tournament. Almost 50,000 people watch Marvel 3. Hopefully Twitch hosts more FGC events, considering all offline locals are closed indefinitely. It's going to be up to the community though, man. Like I said, I wouldn't rely on the publishers to organize that stuff. I mean, they'll do their own events, but as far as smaller events and stuff like that, it's going to be up to people to kind of do it themselves.
I caught he put out a video that was a bunch of highlights of that tournament, and it looked like a good time, man. It looked like a good time. He had Yipes and it was Tasty Steve there. I can't remember, but They were doing the commentating, and he brought back all his characters from his Assist Me days. Assist Me is when I kind of jumped onto him,
Mm.
Maximilian, and that guy's a big dork, man, but he's a good dude. And it was very cool that he was able to do this, was able to put this together. Yeah, maybe more people will do it. I know people don't like that guy for some reason. He seems like the nicest person.
He seems very inoffensive
Yeah,
compared to a lot
like
of other creators. So,
right, like what the fuck? Like I don't know, man. I don't know people, man.
so as you alluded to, Mike, Anthony says, "What do we need to get the TNP hosts playing Among Us?" For me, a PC. Because I don't own a PC. I own a Mac, and it's not available on Mac. Apparently, you can play it on mobile. I don't think that would make for good streaming, though.
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. I would love to play that game with you guys, with you all, because I'm trying to figure out who would be good at it. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like I can't see Jay being good at it because I know Jay too well
Mhm.
to determine whether or not he would get like he would be like Jay, like he normally is, right?
Mhm.
But then he would be like, okay, guys, he would get super serious. He would get hyper serious. You'd be like, nah, yo, something's wrong. Something's
So
wrong.
this might surprise you. Um, I am not the best at social deduction games because in these games, for whatever reason, I have a very aggressive sales pitch.
Hmm.
So I want you to know that it's not me, but that it's not me who's the traitor. But that automatically makes people suspicious, generally, that you are the traitor because you're coming at them super hard. I can't tell you how many games of like Resistance, for example, or things of that sort, that we have lost because I was unsuccessfully able to convince people that I was on their side. Automatically distrustful of me. Uh yes, it would be cool if we could do that. I would love to see what we could do to make that work. I'm probably the biggest problem as far as that goes, just like I said, of my computer situation. Uh really it's Steam's fault for not making more things Mac compatible.
There you go. Steam. Get out of here.
It is what it is. When it comes to console though, if that ever happens, we'll be right there.
Oh yeah, I will look, I will fire up the Twitch account and let's get it going.
Yeah. Finally, Rashawn asks, Michael, will you install an emulator on your Series X so that you can play PS2 games like some people are, apparently?
No, I don't need to play a PlayStation 2 game.
I can also tell
Um,
you the last thing that I'm doing with my brand new $500 machine is jailbreaking it.
yeah,
On an
yeah. Why don't I just blow smoke in it?
emulator.
Like, no, I would blow smoke in it before I did that. So no, I don't, and I see people throwing up this headline and Xbox fanboys, like the aggressive fanboys, right? Like I don't I most people I know don't really care. Like they have a system that they prefer, but they don't shit on the other system because they don't have it. Um, but the aggressive fanboys, the ones who say like, well, Xbox is better because the online is better. What the fuck? Are they going to different internets? What do you mean the online is better? All right, whatever. They post stuff like that and be like, "Whoa, you telling me that the PlayStation can't even play the PlayStation 2 can justify this?" Like, nah, yo, nah, calm down. If you have PS2 games, or if you want to play a PS2 game, you have a PS2, and you have said game. So I
Plus,
just
any PS2 games that I want to play probably have been remade for PlayStation at some point, and I can get those versions, which look better.
any PS2 game that I want to play, I could probably play on my fucking phone. So no, I'm not doing that. No, I would much rather blow smoke up my Xbox Series X's ass before I play a PlayStation 2 game.
So that is it for the post office. Thank you guys very much for submitting your questions. And that means that's it for the show this week as well. Don't forget to join our fan group, densepixels.com/fans. You too can submit questions to us that we will answer every single week in the Dense Pixels post office. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/densepixels. Ring the bell icon. You'll be notified whenever we post a new episode if you prefer to see our pretty faces and digest the show that way. And follow us all on Twitch, except for Micah. He's lame. I am Dense Pixels Brad. Terrence is Apparition 410. And Carrie is Sup. It's Carrie. Elgato provided me with a possible solution to my streaming woes on PS5. So I might be finally able to do that. Because I really don't want to stream through the PlayStation. Because I don't want to have to go buy the PlayStation camera to do it. It sucks. And you can't use a webcam on PS5, which I think is also stupid. I don't know why they haven't been able to open up that limitation.
So, because you got to buy the webcam.
I shouldn't have to spend the money. That's it for us this week. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.